Britain is stepping up its search for alleged Russian influence in its affairs after UK researchers claim that more than 400 Twitter accounts tried to sway voters on Brexit. One example highlighted was an alleged Russian tweeter whose profile didn't fit someone usually into British politics, but posted or retweeted nearly 100 posts mentioning Brexit. Our London correspondent Polly Boyker looks at the facts behind the allegations.
In recent weeks and days, the British media has been heavily focused on the lack of progress at the Brexit talks and the problems facing Theresa May's government. The Russian interference story has drawn the fire away from all that. And now media outlets can pore over the question of how many trolls does it take to incite a revolution? Not many, according to everyone we approached to discuss this story in London. Do you think 400 Twitter accounts from Russia is enough to change the outcome of the referendum here in the UK?
Well, I think it could. I think and there could be a lot more, yeah.
So you think it's only the tip of the iceberg?
Yes, I think it is just the tip of the iceberg.
I believe there is something at the bottom of it.
And I'm being very careful with my answer, but where there's smoke, there's fire, usually.
If Russia did this, I'm not surprised.
The idea that 400 Twitter people will affect the movements of millions, as it were, mostly people who don't even read anything on Twitter, is absolutely laughable.
The idea that 400 social media accounts are capable of swinging an election in the UK or anywhere else is just ludicrous. In fact, it's so ludicrous, it's almost comical.
It seems Russian interference is interfering in everything these days.
We've just been at a conference about women in leadership at the summit, and this has come up as one of the topics.
Why is it a topic for women in leadership?
Well, it was more about the world we live in today and the unsettled nature of it, and the topic of, Brexit and Trump in power. What the hell are we going to do? And the topic of Russian, let's say, interference at some level was discussed.
No one I spoke to had anything to say about evidence. That may be because there isn't much of it.
Do you think the Prime Minister's wrong to be putting the emphasis that she put on this last night?
On Russia? No.
Is she right to accuse them of meddling?
Well, I think she probably has evidence to indicate that that was the case.
Probably. There's also Britain's head of cybersecurity. Kieran Martin has said that Russian hackers have attacked British media, telecommunication and energy sectors. When asked for proof, he said he couldn't get into precise details. The Prime Minister's spokesperson has said that Downing Street didn't have any evidence of successful interference in British electoral systems. And this was the way the Foreign Secretary put it.
I haven't seen any evidence of that. No, I haven't seen it. I haven't seen not a sausage, yet.
But that doesn't matter. Because if you ask a member of the public here if Russia did meddle, the answer is most likely to be da.
For questions of foreign affairs like faraway Russia, people in the UK are prepared to suspend disbelief, to simply accept what they are told. If the Russians are blamed often enough, people will say, OK, we accept that, you don't have to tell us anymore.
What Theresa May and other leaders are doing across the West is trying to divert attention from their own responsibility for the enveloping crises, the political crises that are taking place at home and abroad. So in this context, they don't need evidence. Russia now is seen as an easy target.
Theresa May later clarified her comments that she'd made on Monday, telling MPs that she was not talking specifically about the UK.
If they care to look at the speech I gave on Monday, they will see that the examples I gave of Russian interference were not in the United Kingdom.